Family can either be your safety net or the reason you feel like you're walking a tightrope every day. Mine? They were both. My name is Jasmine Cole, and for most of my life, I've played the role of the dependable one, the quiet helper, the thoughtful listener, the one who never made a scene. You know the type, the cousin who remembers birthdays, shows up early to baby showers, and volunteers to clean up after Thanksgiving dinner while everyone else is passed out on the couch. I never needed the spotlight. I wasn't chasing praise. I just wanted to belong, until my cousin Brielle made sure I didn't. Brielle and I were born 2 months apart. We grew up almost like sisters, matching Christmas dresses, joint birthday parties, and sleepovers at our grandma's house. But somewhere along the line, things changed. While I stayed reserved and practical, Brielle became the loud, magnetic type who always knew how to take over a room and make people love her. And she knew it, too. At first, it was little things. At family reunions, she'd throw in backhanded compliments like, "Jazz is so chill, she doesn't even care about fashion," while wearing designer heels and fake lashes. Or, "You're so brave for living alone in that tiny apartment." I could never. It always came with a sweet smile and a laugh like it was all a joke. But every jab stuck to me like gum on my shoe. I let it go for years. I'd laugh along, even when it stung, because I was raised to avoid drama, to stay above the nonsense, and to never air dirty laundry in front of family. But with Brielle, ignoring the problem didn't make it go away. It made me easy prey. Then came Mom's 60th birthday. I had this idea to throw her a surprise backyard party. Low-key, but beautiful. I wanted to handle everything: food, decorations, guest list. I worked double shifts to afford a live jazz duo because my mom loves Nina Simone. I even found a bakery that could make the same hummingbird cake she used to bake with Grandma. I was proud. I was excited. Until one afternoon, I got a text from my aunt asking if I'd really uninvited Brielle from the planning committee. Turns out, Brielle had told half the family that I didn't want anyone else involved in the party, that I was taking over and trying to impress everyone. My stomach dropped. One by one, relatives started ghosting me. My Uncle Ray didn't return my calls. My cousin Sarah unfollowed me on Instagram. My own sister, who knew how hard I was working, started acting weird, like she didn't know what to believe. I confronted Brielle. Calmly, at first. "Why are people saying I uninvited you? That never happened." Her smile? Unbothered. "I don't know what you're talking about, Jazz. Maybe you just seemed controlling, and people got the wrong idea." Then she hugged me, like we were still besties. I stood there frozen, trying to swallow the lump in my throat, trying to tell myself it wasn't a big deal. But it was. She was slowly, skillfully, turning the people I loved against me, and wearing the crown of innocence while doing it. That party? It happened. It was beautiful. My mom cried when she saw the cake, and the jazz duo brought her to tears. Everyone said it was one of the best family gatherings in years. But the whispers were still there. I saw it in the side eyes, heard it in the awkward pauses when I walked into conversations, felt it in the way people hugged me too tightly, like they were trying to make up for something without saying what. I didn't know the full extent of what Brielle had done until months later. And when the truth finally hit me, it hit hard. And cold, like a slap you never saw coming. But even then, I told myself, just move on. Let her be. And I almost did. Until her wedding invitations went out. And mine never came. You know that moment when something feels off, like an itch just under your skin, but you can't quite put your finger on it? That's how it started with Brielle's wedding. Everyone in the family was buzzing about it. The venue was a fancy vineyard 2 hours out, the kind of place that costs more per guest than I pay in rent. Bridesmaids were getting their dresses tailored. People were posting cryptic, "Can't wait for the big day" stories on Instagram. But my phone stayed silent. No save the date. No invite. Not even a group text. I waited and waited until finally I asked my sister, Maya, "Did Brielle send invites yet?" She hesitated. "I mean, yeah, a few weeks ago." My chest tightened. "So, I just didn't get one?" She looked away. "Jazz, I thought maybe you were invited and just didn't want to go." Why would I not go to my cousin's wedding? Maya blinked. Because of what happened. What she said happened. And there it was. That feeling again, like the floor was shifting under me. What exactly did she say, Maya? Silence. And then, with eyes full of guilt, she muttered, that you tried to hook up with her fiancé back in college. I laughed. Out loud. A loud, sharp, are you kidding me? Kind of laugh. I hadn't even met him back then. She said you did. That you had a thing for him before they got together. That he ghosted you, and you held a grudge. My jaw dropped. I was dating someone else when they met. I didn't even know who he was. Maya didn't defend me. She just gave that look people give when they're too tired to pick sides. That look that says, I don't want to get involved. And just like that, I became the villain in a story I didn't even know was being told. I tried reaching out to Brielle. Called. Texted. Sent a long, calm message asking why she was lying. You know what she did? She posted a photo of her bridal party with the caption, "Grateful for real women who uplift, not compete. No snakes allowed, kiss mark snake, #blessed." I stared at my screen for 10 full minutes, heat rushing to my ears, my hands shaking. I'd never been so humiliated. Not just by the lie, but by how easily people bought it. Family members who'd known me my whole life were suddenly looking at me like I was capable of betrayal. Like I was bitter and jealous. Like I deserved to be shut out. And Brielle? She was glowing in the spotlight she stole. Still, a part of me, maybe the part that still believed family meant something, wanted to let it go. Maybe if I stayed quiet, it would blow over. Maybe people would see the truth eventually. But that version of the story, the one where I sit in silence while someone else burns down my name, that version was done. So I started asking questions. Digging. And the more I looked, the more I realized Brielle wasn't just petty. She was calculated. She'd been planting seeds about me for years, twisting stories, bending facts, always with that sweet smile. Little things like telling my aunt I was too emotional when I cried after Grandma passed, or laughing about how I dated losers when I was in grad school. People laughed along, thinking it was harmless. But it wasn't. She wasn't just trying to shine. She wanted to erase me. And for what? Because I didn't worship her the way everyone else did? Because I planned a birthday party without asking for her input? I knew then, this wasn't just drama. This was war. And it was time to show Brielle that I wasn't the girl she could walk all over anymore. Because, unlike her, I didn't need lies to fight back. I had the truth. You can only let someone rewrite your story for so long before you grab the pen and start writing it yourself. I was done being the silent cousin, the nice girl, the one everyone forgot to defend. So I started digging, not out of spite but out of survival. Because the more I thought about it, the more I realized this wasn't the first time Brielle twisted the truth about someone to keep her crown from slipping. And it hit me, I wasn't her first target. I was just the one who finally stood still long enough to see it. I started with old photos, texts, social media posts, little things that didn't sit right, like how she cropped Amira, her college roommate, out of every photo after sophomore year. Or how she once told the family Amira transferred schools because she got caught up with the wrong people. That always felt off. So I messaged Amira. We hadn't spoken in years, but when I reached out and explained what was going on, her response came fast. OMG. I knew she'd pull this on someone else. We got on a call that night. And what Amira told me made my stomach flip. Back in college, Brielle had been in this situationship with one of her English professors, Professor Harold Gates. He was charming, well-liked, and notorious for pushing boundaries with female students. Most of them stayed quiet, but one didn't. She filed a complaint. When the investigation opened, Brielle panicked. She'd been sleeping with him, willingly, but she didn't want her name involved. She told Amira that if the school found out, she could kiss her scholarship goodbye. So instead of telling the truth, Brielle did something worse. She wrote a glowing character reference letter, saying Professor Gates was respectful, professional, and a mentor who went above and beyond. That letter helped water down the case. He got a slap on the wrist and quietly resigned. Brielle, of course, pretended it was a tragedy. Told everyone she was so shocked. But Amira knew the truth. She saw the drafts on Brielle's laptop. She saw the tears, the panic, the fear of losing everything. I asked her, "Do you still have the messages? The emails?" Amira paused. Then she said, "I never delete receipts." She emailed me screenshots, timestamps, drafts of the letter, texts between her and Brielle where Brielle admitted she was playing the victim to stay out of it. I sat there, staring at the screen, heart pounding. This wasn't just gossip. It was character proof. The golden cousin everyone adored had protected a predator. And the woman she tried to destroy me had done nothing more than exist quietly outside her spotlight. It was poetic and brutal, and I wasn't going to waste it. Now I had a choice. I could leak the screenshots, email the family, post it online, but that would make it feel petty. No. This deserved timing. So I waited. Waited until Brielle's engagement party, a week before the wedding. A swanky, catered event in her fiancé's parents' backyard. Champagne fountains, fairy lights, that kind of money. I wore a navy blue dress, hair slicked back, heels sharp enough to slice through glass. I wasn't going to make a scene, I was going to make a statement. And right before the toast, as everyone gathered around, I stood. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't cry. I simply said, "Before we toast, I think it's only fair we raise our glasses to the truth." All eyes turned. A hush fell. Brielle froze. I pulled a small stack of printed screenshots from my clutch. "Brielle, you once told this family I betrayed you. But the only betrayal here is yours. And if anyone would like to know who Professor Harold Gates really is and how your glowing letter helped him walk away from a misconduct case, I've brought copies." Gasps. Stares. A glass shattered in the background. Brielle's face went ghost white. Her fiancé? He didn't say a word. He just walked inside the house. Her mother tried to pull me aside. I stepped back. "I kept quiet long enough," I said calmly. "Let her explain it to you this time." I didn't need to stay to watch the meltdown. I left with my head held high, the silence behind me louder than any applause. That night, my inbox lit up. Aunts, uncles, cousins, some apologizing, some asking for details, some admitting they never fully believed her, but didn't want to rock the boat. Too late. The boat was already sinking. And Brielle? Her wedding still hadn't happened. But that's a story for next time. Brielle's wedding was supposed to be the event of the year. A vineyard ceremony, sunset vows, cocktail hour with live string music, followed by a reception that screamed Instagram-worthy perfection. Instead, it became the family's biggest scandal since Uncle Kenny ran off with his secretary in '98. The Monday after the engagement party, whispers turned into full-on chaos. Brielle's fiancé, now ex-fiancé, Landon, didn't ghost her. He confronted her. According to my cousin Sarah, he sat her down and said, "If you lied about something like this, what else have you lied about?" Brielle's excuse? That was years ago. I didn't do anything wrong. But she had. And he knew it. He walked out that night. Not just on the engagement, but on the idea of a future with someone who weaponized truth like it was optional. The wedding was quietly postponed. But no one needed to read between the lines. The cancellation email went out 2 days later. No explanation. Just gone. I thought I'd feel victorious. I didn't. What I felt was tired, heavy, relieved. It wasn't just about Brielle. It was about the years I spent shrinking myself to make other people comfortable. The way I swallowed insults because I didn't want to be difficult. The way I let people call me quiet like it was a flaw. That part of me, the one who apologized for taking up space, she died at that engagement party. 2 weeks later, I hosted a backyard dinner. Simple homemade food. No jazz band. No fairy lights. Just real people, good wine, and soft music from a speaker. And you know what? Almost the entire family showed up. Even the ones who stayed silent before. One by one, they pulled me aside. I should have said something when she started talking about you. I'm sorry for believing her lies. I forgot how much you hold this family together. And maybe those apologies were overdue. Maybe some of them were only there because they were embarrassed. But I didn't need to know their reasons. I'd already made peace with who I was and who I wasn't. Brielle didn't show up. Not that I expected her to. But Maya did. My sister. She hugged me tighter than she had in years. You know what? She whispered. You scare me a little now. I laughed. Why? Because I finally saw what you're capable of when you stop hiding. That stuck with me. Because for years, I thought keeping the peace meant keeping quiet. But real peace? Real healing? It comes from truth. From standing in your own story, even if your voice shakes. And now, I'm no longer the cousin who fades into the background. I'm the woman who made the storm stop. Brielle lost her wedding, her image, her mask. But I found myself. Thank you so much for listening to my story. Your support means everything. If this story touched you or made you think, please subscribe to our channel for more real, powerful stories.